All right. Thank you so much for waiting, Aries. It's great to see you. We're going to be reading this in October, looking at November, but happy fall to everyone here in the Northern Hemisphere, spring to everyone else. This is a season of change, and this is an exciting month ahead because I really do feel a lot of movement happening for you. You actually got a couple of totems for hunting animals, or insects in this case, a praying mantis and a scorpion. So we'll be looking at that today. Super powerful totems actually coming through for you. My name is Nicholas Ashbaugh. This is Apollo. I'm going to put him down so we can focus. And what I'd like to, again, look at for you is the next 6 to 8 weeks. The messages that came through here that I was writing feverishly before we began basically will be valid for the here and the now, and they'll help you travel through that 6 to 8 week period. Then the messages that we look in the cards are going to be a little bit more focused on that period of time. The way that I organize this is something that I kind of shifted into a new sort of format next month. I hope you enjoy it, or last month, I should say. We begin with channeled messages. I'll look at a Celtic Cross next. Then I do an expanded forecast where we look at health, wealth, love, and destiny. After that, we'll look at a big idea for everything that came through, and then move on to some new things like blessings and blocks for the month ahead, a soul path message, and then a viewer's choice. So that will help us kind of get into everything that's possible. I really feel that one thing that I try to do here is to empower you. Never will I ever kind of go in a place of fear. It's always about how to deal with what's in front of us, possibilities, right? So I'm always excited to see what the possibilities are for you. We always wrap up with a meditation and a final question that you might have for me that you can meditate on. Today, something special, and I'll give you a little preview. We're going to be using something new for meditation. It's a crystal pyramid that makes a really cool sound. So stick around for that. I'm using a new instrument for the meditation, and I think you'll like it. Okay. This was new, and this is something that I saved up to get. So thank you to all of you that support me. By the way, that's a nice segue before I get into the messages. If you want to show support, I try to put what you give to me right back into the channel. You can do so by clicking on this little icon by the emojis, and I appreciate it. And I'll say thank you to anybody that does that at the very end of the video. Special thanks to all the channel members and Patreon supporters for all your love and support. If you'd ever like to join, you can do that by clicking the join button. The benefits are the same for both. You just get emojis here on YouTube, and also a highlighted name. So I think the YouTube one is easier and you get some more benefits. So whatever works for you. If you happen to watch on replay, you can click the thanks button as well. Okay, let's get into your lovely totems for today. Just grab my iPad here, and we'll go into the first one, which is something that I actually, so totems come to me in a couple of ways. Dreams, meditation, and sometimes they meet me in day-to-day life. And so as I was walking the dog yesterday and thinking about your sign and kind of figuring out what I was going to do, lo and behold, right in the sidewalk, there was this little tiny mantid, tiny praying mantis, basically looking at me and sort of saying, "Hey there." It was kind of cool. I took a couple pictures with my phone, but it was hard because I was walking the dog. So I'm going to show you some here on the iPad. I do think it's an amazing insect. And we'll be focusing on a few of its features. First and foremost, it's hard to miss those big eyes and the fact that its head can kind of swivel almost, well, actually completely around 180 degrees there. It also has the ability to, I like orchids, to mimic things. So there are certain varieties here, like this orchid praying mantis, that can actually blend in, which helps it hunt a little bit better. And I'll be talking about this in a second, but it also has the ability to use all of its energy. It's kind of has wings and these claws and everything. So if it's threatened, it will use its body language to kind of really throw itself out there. So we have this picture of the mantis, praying mantis, sort of like saying, "Hey, look at me." So I like that. And we're going to talk a little bit about how this relates to you. And then we'll talk about the scorpion, which I also saw in my dreams. So you have two very powerful symbols. It's interesting. Sometimes I'll get pollinators. Today I got hunters. And last night in my dreams, I was tiptoeing around scorpions. So more to come on that. Okay, so the praying mantis, it's an excellent hunter, and it will eat pretty much anything. So one misconception with the praying mantis is that it is strictly beneficial. Based on the research that I did, it will eat pests as well as bees and things that we want actually in our yard. So you want to be careful. You don't want to just put a ton of praying mantids out there. Maybe one or two are great, but they can also wreak havoc themselves. I will say, more likely than not, it's a really auspicious symbol. I was happy to see it. And it does sort of tell me that you have the ability to remove blocks in your life, particularly things that annoy you. So being a hunter, this is a reminder also that this is going to be a very active month for you. But both of these symbols lie in wait. They wait. A scorpion waits, and it decides when it's going to use its stinger. A praying mantis waits, and then it decides when it's going to kind of claw down on something. So there's a patience that is necessary this month, and it's going to probably test you a little bit. So like temperance reversed, how long can I wait? What's going on? Four of Cups, like why am I not where I want to be just yet? Meanwhile, in the sort of probably in the environment would be the Three of Wands saying it's coming, don't worry. So patience is key, and also this sort of timing is also key. Making sure that you do something at just the right moment, a minute too early, a minute too late, and it's a wasted moment. So timing and patience are so important. So you want to plan. You want to trust in what you're trying to do, and then you really want to take advantage of a window when it opens, okay? As I said, a praying mantis can move their head in about 180 degrees, and they're a reminder for us to not just look at what's in front of us, not just pay attention to what's in our head, but also pay attention to what someone is saying over here, what the sort of bigger feedback is that's going on around us, not to sort of take for granted the big picture, okay? They have really big, large compound eyes, which I showed you. They also have 3 simple eyes as well. They can sense motion, and based on the research that I did, they have like stereo vision, but they also can't see like way off in the distance. It's very clear in what's in front of them. So again, when I was talking about big picture and not missing something, this animal or this insect has specialized so that it can really just pick up on the movement there. And so there is such a thing as being overly specialized, and that might be a warning with this, but there's also, if you put your mind to something, you can get really good at it. So it kind of cuts both ways with this particular totem. What I do like is that they seize the moment, and they remind us to do the same, to act quickly and seize an opportunity in our lives. Timing, as I said at the very beginning, is absolutely everything, okay? The stereo vision is cool that I was talking about. They can kind of see in 3D right in front of them, but then the rest of it is kind of like if you have a really great lens on your camera and there's shallow depth of field or bokeh in the background, that kind of blurriness, they have that. But great vision aside, or specialized vision aside, they only have one ear, and some of them have none. And the ear is on their underbelly, I believe. The ones that do have it, it seems to protect them from bats, but it's the reverse of stereo. That would be mono. They're only hearing like one channel. So what this kind of conveyed to me was that many of us are focusing on maybe what's in front of us, what's tangible, what's practical, but we're not really listening to our higher selves. We're maybe not listening to things that are going on around us. So focus on listening and also kind of tuning in, because it's not just one sort of sensory input that we want to pay attention to. What I wrote here is that many people believe that seeing is believing, but I believe that believing can actually create something that you would see in your everyday life. It's manifestation. It's key to manifestation. That's why you need the Two of Wands and the High Priestess to be super powerful in manifestation. High Priestess can do anything she sets her mind to, but when she's coupled with Two of Wands, she knows exactly what she's doing, how to do it, when to do it. So that sort of premeditated energy around, I know exactly what this is going to be, and I'm going to make it happen. That's really what you want to embrace. Develop and trust your own vision and goals for yourself. Breathe life into whatever these goals are for yourself. That's the power of the Two of Wands. And sometimes the Two of Wands can make us feel bored, impatient, or frustrated because we don't see it yet. But that is what faith, that is what hope, that is what intuition and manifestation is all about. You know it's coming, you trust it's coming, and you keep working at it, okay? So that's basically what I was picking up on with that. I talked about the body language, and I showed you how they'll throw out their their arms and their wings, and they sort of stand on their hind legs to protect themselves and to also create this sense of power. Like, you're not going to take advantage of me. You're not going to not listen to me. Here I am. So they're reminding you to do the same. So we don't want to kind of like close in on ourselves. You want to push up your upper body, push it out a little bit, have good posture, really focus on how you're holding yourself and communicating with others. And if they get in your face too much or something, you can push them back too and just say, listen, kind of find your power, however that is for you. Each one of us kind of expresses it differently, okay? Most mantids have wings, but very few can use them. And also, usually it's the males in the species that can use it, but sometimes the female can. But the fact that it's not a very used gift or feature, to me, is symbolic of maybe someone in your life that is holding you back, holding on to your wings, clipping your wings, not allowing you to kind of fly. So give yourself permission to do what you need to do to quote unquote fly. And this could mean like moving on, going back to school, somehow expanding your horizons, because it's a underutilized part of their anatomy and it's pretty cool. So why not use something if you have it, especially the ability to kind of fly. And flying did come into my dreams last night. We'll talk about that in just a moment. I want to wrap up on the praying mantis first. To me, this particular symbol is indicative of being hands-on, nimble, and also, and most importantly, being still. So what are you doing right now to meditate, to sort of visualize things? The more you can kind of get into that energy of, like I said, seeing and tuning in and really believing that you can kind of create this, the better. Waiting is going to be a piece of this. We are in a retrograde, by the way. The retrograde is from September 27th to October 17th. So the patience period would probably be the first couple of weeks. There's a lot of great things happening from the 18th onward in October. So as you're focusing on November, which is really what this forecast is about, I feel that you're going to have the ability to be in a great place by then. So if you're watching mid-October, I would say that's a perfect time for you to start to set action to things. If you're watching it at the beginning portion, like many of you are today, then this is when you're going to plan. You're going to look at what has happened. You're going to be more in that Two of Wands or temperance state. And then after that, you can be a little bit more active. So depending on when you watch this, the message can shift a bit. But either way, things may take a little bit of time to unravel, but just like a flower, you can't force the bloom. You have to kind of wait for nature to do its thing. So manifestation does involve trusting and releasing, and that's part of this as well. Okay. Let's look at your next symbol. Overall, I love the praying mantis. I think it's a really cool totem. They're very peaceful insects whenever I see them, and they usually, to me, portend good luck. I'm just going to bring up this next one because I didn't have time to bring up a scorpion, everyone's favorite insect, right? While I'm bringing it up, I did read a cool myth about, I guess, the hunter Orion. This is connected to the scorpion. He was kind of boasting about his ability to hunt, and I guess had maybe threatened to kill all the insects on the planet or whatever. And I think it was Leto and was it Artemis too? Got together and sent a scorpion after him to defeat him. So both of these are up in the constellations. There's a bunch of different myths on this, but the cool thing here is to remember that Orion was defeated by a scorpion, which shows us that something small can defeat something big. It's not about power, size, wealth, etc. It's really about doing the right thing. And it can be a protective symbol too, which is what that symbolizes. It's not the prettiest animal or insect rather, but it is a really cool one. It's a highly specialized one. And to me, it is a big symbol of power. So just like snake venom can be powerful, so can the venom of this particular insect. All right, let me talk about what I saw and how this particular totem connects to you today. So in my dreams, it looked like I was in the desert at nighttime going through this path, and without seeing it, I mean, you can't really hear it, but I could hear some sort of like shuffling on the ground, and I knew there were scorpions. So I was walking carefully, almost as if you're walking on eggshells. I didn't want to disturb them, and I wanted to get out of the situation quickly. So some of you could be in the midst of some sort of a conflict or a really tricky work or family situation where there's heated emotions. The scorpions, to me, symbolize something that you don't want to aggravate, just like a hornet or a wasp, because they have that ability to cause some pain. So I think that you really want to pick and choose your battles very wisely this month. You have the opportunity to win and do great things, but you could hurt yourself. Someone else could hurt you. It's a time when we want to be careful of like the Five of Swords, a no-win situation. Sometimes when you win, you lose. So is it worth it? Basically, looking at things, evaluating things, and deciding, do I really need or want to go there? This is a symbol of death and rebirth, and it can convey strength, patience, and courage. It has positive connotations. This, more than anything, is a super great symbol for retrograde because it's not black and white, it's in the middle. A scorpion is both good and has shadow energy too. Like if we make one misstep, it reminds us how some people in our lives can just take that scorpion tail and sting. It also reminds us of our own ability sometimes to just let our mouth run when it shouldn't, right? So be cautious, be careful, be mindful of communication and actions, how your actions can and will affect other people. Also, if it's worth doing something, even if it feels good in the moment, what's the long-term sort of benefit or trade-off of doing something? I think that's really important. So again, if I had to pick a tarot card, it would be the Five of Swords associated with that dangerous part. The positive one would be either the Death or the Judgment card, because it shows death and rebirth. Okay. All of your totems today are hunters, so you have to go after whatever it is in your life that you want. It is a time to be patient, but not to be passive. So we can be patient and also be proactive and researching and learning new things. And that's really what this is about, is keeping an eye on the horizon, keeping the ball rolling when it comes to all of these things. And you'll be glad that you did. After the death or the loss of one thing in your life comes the genesis or arrival of something else, or to restate it, when one door closes, another opens. So focus more on what you want to create or recreate, not on holding on to something that has passed or can't sort of seem to come into your life. So focusing on what can be, what will be, what you're dreaming of, rather than all of the stuff that has naturally kind of fallen out or fallen away. I talked about Orion being defeated by the Scorpion. It's a warning for us not to sort of like get too big, not like ego, or maybe not paying attention to the little people around us, because there could be something going on that deserves our attention. So really take a look at the small details. Don't underestimate someone. Don't underestimate yourself, because you could be the Scorpion too. There could be a Scorpio in your life too, by the way. So all of these things are possible. The final thing that I wanted to talk about here was, by the way, it does show sort of like cunning, which is not the worst thing, being able to find your way out of a difficult situation. So I like that. There's like an engineering sort of energy with this, and also success, because the Scorpion did win. So I always like to try to respect the totem and find things that are beneficial. But this one, much more than the first totem, can also indicate you have to be careful. Okay. Usually on the moon card, I believe it's like a lobster coming out of the ocean. But whenever I see any of those sort of creatures with the claws and kind of lying in wait, it's just a reminder to be careful. Okay. Let's focus on the final message, which I didn't have time to write several cards on, so I'm going to talk a little bit about it. But I feel some of you might have been like astrally projecting, because that's what I was feeling, like the energy of flying, which usually is astral projection. And I saw that you were kind of like dropping in on a situation. So the thing was, it was kind of cool at the beginning, but then there was someone who said, wait a second, did you pay for admission? Do you have a ticket basically to be in here? And it felt like you might be jumping into something too quickly. Make sure that you're paying your dues, and that you don't go unannounced somewhere. maybe back in the 1950s or something, it was cool to just knock on your neighbor's door and surprise them. But nowadays, if you just kind of knock on the door and someone doesn't expect you and they're working and something could be going on, you could be interrupting, sort of like a situation that you don't want to. You could be stepping into that sort of scorpion nest that I was talking about in dreams. You could also just be trying to rush ahead of something before you've learned the information, the lessons, or been set up for success. So this is where patience, again, is a key piece. Eventually, you'll probably have to retract and kind of get the proper path in. So no shortcuts, basically, is another way that I would put this. Shortcuts are cool, but they don't always work. You don't want to be asked later why you're there. Don't rush a situation until it's ready for you and you're ready for it. And those were the main messages. I'm going to scan my notes real quick to see if I missed anything, but I think I got everything. The fact that I did see you in the sort of like desert at the nighttime, to me does tell me that it could be actually a fruitful period for you late at night, early in the morning, to be able to get things done, to brainstorm or ideate. So if you're hitting a wall, one thing that I've learned as I've gotten older is not to stay up all night. It's better just to go to bed early and get up super early. So sometimes if I've hit a wall creatively and it's like 6, 7, 8 o'clock, I'll just be like, let me go to bed early. Let me just get up really early. Let me rest my head and my mind. And I bet you when I wake up, I'll have fresh ideas. My dreams will inform some of my decisions. And it's better than drinking caffeine, pushing your body, getting ragged. And then you're not productive before you go to bed, you don't get enough sleep. And then you're not productive when you get up. Sleep, get the rest. Go to bed early, wake up early if you want to. Or if you get a bunch of energy at night, go ahead and get it all done and then sleep in if you can. Focus on what your body and what your mind is bringing, not trying to force something to happen. And I think that'll be really effective for you to kind of like have a breakthrough creatively. All right. So the praying mantis and the scorpion reminding you of the power of patience, the power of seizing the moment, of picking and choosing battles that matter for you, of the fact that doors open and close regularly. So you want to really just be in this energy of creation. Patience doesn't mean that you're not doing something. So you can be patient and productive. And I think that's really the main message for your sign thus far. All right, let me go ahead now and get started on shuffling the cards and getting into the main forecast here. I'm going to grab a drink of water. So one moment while I do that, you can watch Apollo in the background as I grab that. And just a reminder, if you joined a little bit late, that this can be used for your sun, rising, and your moon sign. And you can also cross-watch. And for those of you that happen to know more about your particular placements, you're welcome to look at that for that. So basically, I have people that will watch every day as well, because we have great meditations at the end. And also there are messages interspersed throughout since I'm clairvoyant. So you're always welcome to join any of my readings, even if you're not sure how it falls in your chart. So I'm just glad you're here. Let's put it that way. I'm going to remain quiet here while I just shuffle the cards. So thank you for letting me do that. As I shuffle the cards, a really big crown awakening as well. So for some of you, I feel like you've been receiving a lot, like your headspace is busy. There's a lot going on. Sometimes I will get an activation where it feels like it's pins and needles. To me, that I'm kind of getting some of that with my crown right now. So it feels like there's a lot of questions buzzing around in your heads right now. So just take a few deep breaths with me. And let's just let the cards do the talking and the walking here. And then I'll tune into the guides. Really interesting that we already got a message about the right timing. So this particular word in Greek is all about the proper timing, the right timing. So give me a moment and we'll get into that. Patience, basically, patience and timing. So it's a nice synchronicity. too. Got a couple of dual totems there, so give me a second to get everything set up. And let's take a look at this. Okay, so the first card was the seed in your catalyst, and we'll talk about that before I talk about the timing card. So this is like a little cosmic egg or a little tiny, like a little tiny seed that you're planting. So what's interesting with all of this, all of these sort of lines, this reminds me of if you took a cross section of a tree. It takes time for things to grow. This to me seems like it's been lifetimes in the making. So for some of you, you've been building up to a really cool movement or shift in your life that maybe you've had to kind of like take many, many, many lives to kind of find the voice, find the power, find the spark of intrigue or inspiration. I want to encourage you in this moment in time to go after whatever it is, and then be patient. Again, as you plant a seed, as you start a new journey, it takes a little time for that to grow. But I will say this, it feels like the timing for many of you is now. You have done the requisite work to create something in your life right now. So the other thing with the seed is it requires nurturing. So you're the cosmic gardener. You're going to have to feed this particular seed over the next, maybe the end of this year, I would say the next quarter of the year. This is the timing card. Kairos. But basically, I remember this word because I actually used it for one of my characters in the book. I have an ancient sort of tree being, which reminded me of that card as well, where that was one of his names or its names. So timing matters. There's a perfect timing for everything and a perfect place for everything. So this is about being able to tune in and recognize it, just like those really cool totems that you got today between the praying mantis and the scorpion. There will be a moment where you know exactly at that time I've got to do it. So it's now or never. Are you ready? That's basically what this is saying. You've done everything that you need. You've created this synchronicity, and now are you prepared for it? That's how success happens, when preparation meets opportunity, and you kind of align and you're like, yes, I'm ready. So it's not so much luck, it's I'm ready to embrace it. So take those praying mantis claws and pull that in and go for it, because it feels like something really cool is on the horizon for you, okay? Can't rush it, but you also don't want to delay it, all right? So feel it out. If it feels good, go for it. We'll talk more about that as we look at all the cards. I think it's really interesting that I'm going to focus on the lovers and the devil first, and then we'll look at the Seven of Swords, which usually the 7 and the 5 are very closely related. So when I mentioned the 5, I'm not surprised that the 7 came up. All right, your center card is the lovers. Let's look at it in its upright position. It's basically showing you that you have this really attractive energy this month, but many of you have done a lot of like work for others, trying to please others, trying to do something that maybe allows someone to vicariously live through you. You also might be in a relationship where one partner is feeling a lot more energy than you, or vice versa. So this can be unrequited. This can be sometimes this feeling of just not having the right balance, and sometimes doubting yourself. At the core of everything, though, is the lovers, which shows that people are interested in you, that you can pull really great things into your life, and that it's a matter of seeing it from a different perspective. This is one of the few lovers cards where we don't see them head on. We're looking at them from the back. So it's a different perspective. Look at it from a different angle. Look at it from the other person's point of view. It's important. I'm glad that we have both the lovers and the devil card here. And it's cool because they're the same energy. Just sort of one is elevated and one is not. Instead of an angel, we have we have the devil. And instead of two lovers that are basically unconditionally loving one another, we have the conditional energy here. And it's less about this guy or this thing here, and it's more about the sort of like attractive or again, sort of constrained energy here. So when you're looking at relationships and opportunities this month, it's not black and white. And there is this sort of, like I talked about spreading your wings, there is this opportunity where maybe one or both of you are going to need to go your own ways. So give one another freedom. And it can be friendships, family, or when we're looking at, partnerships, it can be that. But it does feel like there's going to be this tug of war between who you want to be and who others want you to be, and maybe what you want someone in your life to kind of show up as and what they want to be. Okay. More on that as we get into all the cards. But the important piece here is that very attractive energy at the center, very auspicious actually at the center as well. So Focus on bringing in, accepting, and saying, yes, I'm ready to receive love and abundance in the highest forms. One of the potential blocks that you have to focus on this month is being honest with yourself and making sure that others are honest with you. And if they say something that you don't want to hear, accept it and move on. Like sometimes people say no and we want them to say yes. But if it's their truth, that's their truth. We don't want them to lie to make us happy. And that's really what these two cards are saying. Your happiness is essential. You can't sort of deny who you are for the approval of others in your life. So being authentic, being realistic, and being transparent on all of these things is going to be really, really important. Okay. Relationships this month, like, again, whether it's your best friend, your mom, or a lover in your life, it's going to be all about integrity, honesty. And for some of you, you might actually be deciding to get rid of this thing that you've been holding on to. It's the monkey on your back, right? Because it's crossing this. So it's more of an energy around you. It's not the defining energy. So you're also reversing the devil, which is good. So that's saying no more lies, no more pain, no more hiding. This is who I am. This is who you are. And what you're looking at over the next 6 to 8 weeks between October and November is this chance to clear it up, clear the air. So for some of you, it's saying something that you've needed to say for like months or years. For some of you, it's giving yourself permission to just be yourself, maybe at the expense of the approval or acceptance of others. Whatever it is, it's going to be good, but it's going to be a little tricky to get through. I'm always honest when I see stuff like that, but you're going to be fine because guess what? You've done the inner work. We look at the deep past and we have the Ace of Cups. So if you love yourself and if you love people around you and if you convey messages from the energy of love, this dude doesn't have a chance, okay? So you want to focus on that. It all comes from love. Love is the universal energy. It's the energy of the divine. It's the thing we take with us when we pass into the other dimension. So you want to use love as your alchemic tool. By the way, love might be coming in. You might either be on the heels of a new love or relationship, a new opportunity that you really like. You might have just really gotten to a point where you're understanding how important it is to love and accept yourself. Love, you need to be focusing on that just as much as being honest, okay? This card can also represent cutting your losses too. So if something is not working, you just decide enough is enough, okay? We have the Knight of Cups in reverse. So for many of you, as you're beginning the month ahead, it's just feeling like there's a lot that you're dealing with, right? And I do feel like it's important for many of you to prioritize yourself. So I always like to look at the folks out there that are doing a lot for others, whether you're a parent, a nurse, a therapist, someone even that works in, in a different field, like the people that cut your hair, do your nails. They're kind of like therapists because they are listening to people all the time. So if you're one of those type of frontline workers, which just deals with people and their problems all the time, take care of you. Make sure that you're not absorbing all of that. Find a way to decompress or to distance yourself from some of that stuff, or to change the topic if you're listening all day to some energy like that. It is about love coming in, but again, are you ready for it? I feel like opportunity is knocking on the door, but you're not quite ready to answer it just yet. And this could be it could mean a delay in love or relationships. So open up to what you want. Make your mind up. What are you looking for? The universe is wondering, and there's a door that's open. One of the things that could be holding you back this month is self-worth and sort of feeling like I deserve this. So a lot of times in our lives, because of parents, because of teachers, because of a wound from the past, we sometimes have this feeling of self-doubt. So one of the things that you're going to try to overcome this month is the self-doubt that has been kind of like sitting around in your head for a while. So this is a chance for you to say, I forgive myself, I forgive that person, or I see now what the potential is. In a retrograde, again, I'm reading for November, but you're going to be looking at it during a retrograde period, so we have to talk about it. Things that you haven't dealt with probably will come back. And sometimes it can be really cool stuff too. I just got a text the other day, and like a best friend from high school is going to come visit just for a day or something. So all of a sudden I was like, that is precisely what I would expect in a retrograde, someone from the past, something from the past. And there's always a chance to talk about that, resolve things. So whether or not you're looking for it, and even if you're highly intuitive, you can still be surprised by something like that. So this is a chance to reconnect. So if you have someone in your life that you miss, that you feel like you had unfinished business with, perfect timing. And it'll be good, actually. This will be a good time for you to go back and heal. So I see the Five of Pentacles often as a healing card, okay? When we're looking at resources, you actually have some really good resources. So I'm going to read it today as a chance for you to focus on self-confidence, healing old relationships of any sort in your life, and deciding this time to really look at each other and, again, see each other for what you are. Because the center of this spread is about really being unconditional. Sorry, this card was up, right? So what we really want to do is make sure that you're seeing things unconditionally, all right? So you have that chance to do it. All right. So on to the Devil. So again, this is a chance for you to look at things that are holding you back, things that are somehow coming into your life and making you feel less than. We want to reverse the Devil and basically say, enough is enough with all of this. I see myself for who I am. I know who you are, and I'm not going to put up with the sort of conditional energy here anymore. The Devil also comes through when we need to focus on certain things in our life, like someone who says they can do something but consistently can't. They consistently fail in their promises. So if that's happening, these two cards are saying, hey, wake up to this red flag. So pay attention to red flags this month. They're going to help you resolve issues so that you don't have to deal with them anymore. They're going to help you get into something better, because the core energy is that of the Lovers. The Devil comes through to make us doubt ourselves. And if someone in your life says something in a way that kind of they think the worst about you. I had someone do that recently, and I just shook my head. I'm like, that's the energy reverse. Like that's counter to being a light worker. So they just said something bad will happen to you, and I was like, no, don't try to put like a curse on me. That's not cool. Don't put a fear. Don't project a fear. This happens with parents and people that claim to be friends, but sort of interject and try to sort of like put their own nonsense in there. So if someone thinks that you can't do it, or you're going to fail, or something like that's going to happen, pull that away. That's actually someone trying to chain you down or make you doubt yourself. And it's like a earworm or a brain worm. It gets in there and you have to like really work at getting it out. But that's them. That's not you. So there's someone that wants to try to hold you back, control you, or make you doubt yourself. But the retrograde that's coming through is going to free you up so that by the time November comes through, this person has no power. I reminded people of an old Disney movie, Labyrinth. The basic piece of this is that the main character, the girl, I can't remember her name in the movie, but she creates this Goblin King or whatever. And at the very end, she just has to say, you have no power in my life. And he fades away. That's it. She created him. She can also reduce him to dust. So we can do the same with this kind of energy in our life. We sometimes give our power to others. You can reclaim it and say, you have no dominion, you have no power over me. This is not going to work. So releasing, reclaiming, and moving on. And that's really what the Devil is about today. Okay. Sarah, thanks. Okay. Queen of Swords coming through. So this is a really good card for you showing up in your soul space, because what this is saying is that you have a chance to really speak your mind. Just like I was saying, words are so powerful. They have the capacity to build someone up. They have the capacity to, like I just said here, make something go completely away. So I want you to focus on this capacity right now to use your words and to build things up and to get to the point. What is it that you want to do? Just be strong with this card, okay? Communication skills are shining through loud and clear. This is a great time for you. And so lean into that and don't be afraid to do something really cool. If you're a writer, speaker, this can even like be legal or surgery or stuff like that. There's all sorts of good energy coming through from movement. It does show sort of like cutting through things. So cutting through the boundaries, releasing things. It's very, very good time for all of that. You could also have a strong air sign coming into your life as well. Actually, for those of you dating, there's multiple symbols here that could show, like, I don't think that there's a lack of potential. It's just really an interesting month to be looking for love. We'll focus on that when I get into love in just a moment. The most important thing for you as I look in the environment is probably stepping away from a tricky situation. This was the scorpions outside in the desert. So this is in your environment. It's not so much in yourself. It feels like some of you are dealing with people around you that might be sad, might be angry. There could be a work environment where there's a lot of tension or some morale issues. You could also just be a highly sensitive person picking up on everyone's energy. And a lot of times it's their hurt or it's their pain and things like that. So I want you to do some things this month to let your heart grow, let it blossom, let it be creative. So maybe it is doing something artistic like drawing or singing or dancing. For the rest of you, it could just be about giving yourself a chance to sort of like rest. There is a patience energy that came through, like I said. So meditation, going to the beach, hanging out in the pool, whatever you can do where you're just letting yourself be a little bit is going to be important as well. Healing is possible. Some of you may need to separate from someone or something, especially since we got a combination of the devil and the Three of Swords. It's time to like cut through all of that energy. So also with the Five of Pentacles and the Three of Swords, allow yourself to be happy, because you wouldn't have gotten the Lover's card if you didn't deserve or work on that opportunity in your life. So this is your chance right now to reclaim or to really fully sort of pull that energy in. All right. So now we're looking at your actual money cards. I don't see this month the Five of Pentacles as a money card. What I see here is the Seven of Pentacles and then the Knight of Pentacles. So Seven of Pentacles, we can see her impatience, which is important. Usually you would see a guy sort of with this garden that he's making, and he's just sort of sitting there like she is, like, why isn't it happening faster? Or what have I done to get me here? Why didn't I do something better? So Seven of Pentacles to me is the moment that you're finally at a turning point. The turning point is that I'm not going to go back to this, whatever this was, whatever that limiting thing was, whatever that mistake, whatever that temptation was. I've learned the lesson. Goodbye, you're dismissed. And now I'm looking forward to growth and abundance. I'm really ready. I'm not going to make those mistakes again. You're not going to make the mistakes again. That's what these two cards are showing me. You're only headed towards growth. We've all lost something sometime. Maybe we've made a bad decision with an investment. We've lost money. Maybe we've not allocated our time correctly, and now we're spending double the amount of time to get something done. It's a resource represent. Maybe we've spent time and energy loving someone. Then we decide, wait, what was that about again? Why is this person not giving back exactly what I'm giving? And you decide to walk away. But this card can sometimes be about beating yourself up or fearing that it's going to happen again. Since you're a magnet with the Lovers, you're going to magnetize or pull in the positive. As I said in my channeled messages, you have a choice to focus on what wasn't, what can't be, what never will be, or what can be, what you'd love to do, what you're working to create. Focus on that, not on that. Okay, so this is a chance to have a turning point in perspective. And as you do that, then we see people coming in and valuing you. No longer do you have to sit in the energy of this. This is in your head. It's not the reality. It's in the crowning space. The reality is the Knight of Pentacles. So now you're at this precipice of people coming in and saying, hey, it's you that I've been looking for. Hey, this moment that you've been waiting for, it's now. But you have to take action on it. Knights don't wait. So there's a period of waiting, and then things start to happen really fast. So when it's time, and really kind of like pull that in and embrace it, okay? I do see on the horizon a nice shift when it comes through to your sort of like money, your resources and opportunities. I also see someone might be interested in kind of connecting with you. If it is something that you don't like or don't trust, then you need to kind of make sure, like, of course, we're, like I said, in a retrograde until the 18th. The 17th would be the last day. So from October 18th until any time in November, it starts to get better. November is better than October, but it's still, listen, retrograde doesn't wait for people. And I saw a comment in one of my other videos, I think it might have been the weekend one that I did for the collective, saying, you know, like life doesn't wait. And I agree, it doesn't wait for retrograde. So if you have to make a big decision, purchasing a house, starting a job, signing contract, exchanging goods and services, just be discerning and look at all of the small details. Once you've done that, you're going to be fine. If there's something you don't like or that doesn't suit you, then speak up and get what you need out of that arrangement or agreement, and you'll be okay. Ultimately, though, this is portending good things. And as we look at November, especially, I see movement with money, and I see movement in the right way, money and resources. Okay. Growth. growth and recovery. With this often comes a special sort of like test from the universe. So you may have one more thing that comes through to say, are you sure you don't want this? Or are you sure you're going to say no to this temptation or this sort of opportunity? And you're going to be able now to discern. So discernment is key. You've got it. You're going to do all right this time around. Okay. Let me expand the forecast. We're going to look at health, wealth, love, and destiny and get some additional insights on everything that we just talked about. How's everybody doing today? I hope you're well. All right, so with the health card, this is mind, body, and spirit. And this particular card says, don't hate, meditate. And this is really the answer to the scorpion energy that I was picking up on. So it says, thank you, angels, for guiding me to love through meditation. Card was reversed. Some of you may see meditation as a luxury. I want you to start to prioritize it and see it as a necessity, just as much as, you know, eating breakfast is. So make some time to do this. You'll be happier that you did rather than running on empty. In the meditation comes really powerful messages. Some of you may be getting more in sleep because you're working yourself so much. So if you can't meditate, at least get the sleep. But what I would like you to do is to try to set up 5 minutes at the beginning or end of your day. You can definitely spare 5 minutes. Even if it's just you taking a shower or a bath and shutting the door and being in that space for a few minutes, or waiting till if you have a family, till everyone in the family is asleep, and then you take a couple of minutes before you go to bed and sort it all out. Listen to what your thoughts are. See where your head is allowed to go when you're not hearing your spouse or children or boss or neighbors or whatever it is, because in that moment comes the clarity, and that's going to help you get into the sort of hunter energy that came through with your totems. So somehow meditate. Meditation can also be a part of dance. It can be something that happens when you walk or take a hike. It can be something that happens when you cook, when you draw, when you do anything that's just sort of a chance for you to disconnect. The main thing is that you're not focusing so much on listening to things. Turning off the television is going to be key with this, and probably having some time and space away from others is going to be key. So if you can just go somewhere and do something that feels good to you, it's meditation. Gardening is meditation, because you're sitting there and doing stuff, but other things are going to be coming to your higher sort of self, and that's the important thing. So whatever you want to do, it doesn't have to just be cross-legged and, you know, hands in the lotus position like this. There's a lot of other things that you can do. All right. That's your health card. Let me look at some specific messages in the tarot cards that are coming through. You've got a lot, actually. The first one is to be real. Get real with yourself. So the Seven of Swords is really about understanding that before you can make a change, you have to really see what needs to change. And then once you really see what happens, then you're going to be able to change it. I like that we kind of have them looking in two directions. One is looking at the past, one is looking at the future. The common thread between the two is just giving yourself time to recover and to rebuild. It doesn't happen in a day. Rome wasn't built in a day. Recovery doesn't happen in a day. It takes almost as much time sometimes to build up as it did to kind of like break down. Trying to avoid temptation. If there's people in your life that tend to come in and say you can't, you won't, or they try to interfere with your own sort of recovery, whatever that is, enough with that. Avoiding that sort of temptation energy. Your own emotional happiness is going to be really key. Many of you are dealing with grief or loss or frustration or toxic environment, like I said. So that's going to be really important as well, cleaning that up. Such a good time to talk or write this down. So if you like journaling, if you maybe are open to talking to a counselor of some sort, that's going to be great, because when you open up the throat chakra, you're going to just find that things come out, and all of a sudden you'll feel this sense of relief. Finally, less about emotions, more about the actual body. Want to pay attention to the legs and the feet. Actually, really just any of the lower extremities. So some of you may be dealing with, like, I have a small foot fracture that I'm healing. So Five of Pentacles, definitely I can feel that. It can be twisted ankle. It can be a bone issue. It can be, ACL, Achilles tendon, all that stuff. You want to focus on making your legs, knees, feet, ankles, that part of your body stronger. So you might need physical therapy. You might just want to pay attention to where you're walking and what you're doing when you walk so that you don't trip. And look at the circulation in that part of your body as well. Okay. So little bit of love to the lower extremities because we don't always do that. And it holds us up. That's basically our tree trunk, right? You know, our legs and joints need some love and attention. So do what you have to do. Go to a doctor if you're experiencing any problems. Standard disclaimer applies there, but that's what I see. There could also be for some of you a little bit of energy around looking at your blood pressure, blood sugar, or just your general heart health. So you need to take care of yourself this month. The center card was showing love. So love yourself. Once you do that, you pull in this love. Let's not forget, yeah, there's some stuff you've got to work through, Aries. I'm always real with that. But there's also this energy of this is for you, and it brings in good things. And the final card is really good as well. So, and you're coming across very strong and powerful to others. All that's happening, though, is there's a little bit of cleanup to do. There's a little bit of stuff around you that we need to sweep out energetically, which we'll do in the meditation later. We'll work on that. Okay, I'm here for you. All right, let's look at your wealth card. We have Sacred Plan. To me, this is really akin to the Two of Wands that I was talking about and the High Priestess or the Magician. You want to believe it, see it, and do it. So probably all three of those cards I think is really important. So what is your plan? You might be asked this question. It could be if you're younger and you're looking at colleges, your parents might be saying, or a guidance counselor, or whatever, what do you want to do when you grow up? A little bit of a tip to those of you that are younger. You never really know what you're going to do when you grow up. So you're allowed to keep changing that. I think one of the misconceptions we have is that you're stuck. It's not like one and done. I've had many different hats that I've worn, you know, throughout my career. So we get to keep changing. So pick what feels good to you now. Imagine that you might be doing it for a while and know that what might be best is actually to give yourself skills that will allow you to navigate. I think everybody should take some business classes. Thankfully, my undergraduate was a Bachelor of Science, so I had to. But having classes like economics and business helps you. You're going to need that in this new sort of world that we're in, where we're doing a lot of stuff on our own. So have some psychology classes. Everyone needs to understand what people think. Take some classes that are going to pull in things that in your whole life that you'll be able to use. So understanding people and understanding business, really key. Doing something creative, having a craft or a trade that's unique to you. So take some painting classes. Do stuff that you wouldn't normally think. When you get to have, what are they called, electives, right? Just the stuff that's there for fun, or a minor. Pick a minor that is not necessarily the same as the major, but is something out there that you might lean on that minor later. You'd be surprised. For those of us that are mid-career, midlife, or retired, it means that we can go back to school and do something at any point. You never stop learning. As long as your brain and the wheels are still moving, you can always do something new. Okay, so keep adding on to that. That's what I would say. What's your plan? But someone might come to you also with an offer and say, "What do you think of this? What do you want to do?" So be willing and ready to state what your intention is. Have your elevator pitch ready. And I talk about my own sort of like, if someone asks me what it is that I do, I elevate consciousness, the collective consciousness. I educate. I empower. I try to have intelligent conversations about spirituality. All of those things help me decide which path I want to take and how things kind of filter into it. I didn't always have that clarity, but I'm also, I'm also creative and things like that. But I have like a central focus. Once I found the central focus, everything actually started to kind of align. So give yourself some time to sit and think, what do I like? What am I good at? What do I really want to learn more about? What am I curious about? So I can't tell you your life path, but you can figure it out by using those questions. Play the interrogator towards yourself. What do I like? What am I good at? What am I curious about? What do I want to see more with in my life? Ask yourself these questions. And if you don't know, then just play around. Life is a sandbox. Keep trying different things until something sticks. All right. If you make the plan, though, some great things will happen. Financially, I see recovery. We have a little bit of a story here, which is there is this feeling of not being good enough for some of you, not all of you. Some of you actually are just selling yourself short. This could be a good thing. Maybe you work for a nonprofit or you're giving back a lot. But I do see this opportunity for growth. Don't be afraid to ask for more. You're more likely than not going to get it. It's a good thing. So what I see this month is a chance for you to speak up, state your plans, state your request, and lo and behold, things actually start to work for you. So see your worth, ask for your resources that you need, learn from your mistakes in the past, and move on. If you're in a place where you are limited, and you may be, with the devil and the Three of Swords. You don't need that anymore. You're beyond that, okay? And in fact, it's interesting too. It's kind of like holding you back. It's marring your vision. So be true to your voice and your vision this month, as I said, and that's really what Queen of Swords is coming through and saying, okay? Good stuff. Honestly, good stuff at the end of the day, but I do feel like some of you have to say goodbye to something. So when we're looking at career, if El Diablo is in your in your sort of periphery, this could be a job, a boss, or a company where there's a limited growth potential, or there's a glass ceiling because of experience, and God forbid it's something like gender or age or whatever, because you can probably fight that. But it's a question of, do I want to? Why do I want to fight for a place that doesn't see my worth? Obviously, we all have to fight to make changes happen. But if there's another place that'll do it, just go and tell them goodbye. And then they're going to have to clean up the mess behind you, because you have a lot of great energy that I'd rather have you sort of like invest in you and your future and sort of like moving on than maybe dealing with this, because these energies aren't fun to have to sort of sort out. So I do feel like it's just a chance, and it's permission and an encouragement for you to move on if you need to. All right, let's take a look at relationships. We have Freya here, phases and cycles. So perfect for retrograde. Let me just put on my glasses to read the smaller text on this. It says, there's a beginning within every ending. It's exactly what I said. Illusions are revealed and released. I talked about the moon card. It reminded me of that, even though a scorpion isn't necessarily what we see on it. Usually it's like a lobster, but it can be a scorpion in some particular illustration. So I definitely got the moon energy. So for we have Freya here, but I'm looking at the moon, I'm looking at the raven in this as well, or the crow. And what I would say is that there are messages coming through that you need to look at. So the moon card, which is sort of like the elephant in the room here, that it didn't come through, but I'm picking up on its energy. I would say what you want to focus on is, this is scary. This is something that I need to look at, but I'm going to deal with it this month so that the next part of this year can be fantastic. Phases and cycles, making and breaking cycles. That's what retrograde is about. This can also be like the Eight of Cups. So do you like the path that you're on, or do you want to hit the reset? You can do it if you want to. And with respect to relationships, this person is either going to like be with you on this journey, or this is make it or break it. So let's get into this. This is, I know what many of you are waiting for. So we're going to look at people that are in love, looking for love, or single and happy. So for those of you in love, the biggest thing that we have to look at is, do you feel the same sort of, because this card is a reverse, so do you feel, is it reciprocated energy? Do you feel like you're being maybe taken for granted, you're taking the other person for granted, or they're taking you for granted? Or do you also maybe feel that some person is trying to control you? So what we really want to see is a spreading of the wings and a sort of unconditional love. And I think that dealing with some sort of issue from the past that you might have swept under the rug, it has to happen right now. So if there is lies, deception, or truth that's been revealed, the most important thing is that you have to deal with it. You can't ignore it and pretend that it wasn't said or didn't happen. Healing is important and is possible when and if that happens. But if you don't talk about the things that make you, sort of inspired or afraid, or your hopes and dreams, basically, or your hopes and fears even, I would say, then that's what's going to pull you back. And that's what's going to cause problems in a relationship. So this month, if you're honest, if you can cut through this, then what we see here is a chance for you to rebuild. If you don't, then what we see is it's probably time to kind of like think about, why am I in this particular connection? When I look at this relationship, like I said, it can be a partner that you're married to. This could also be a really close friend, coworker, or a boss relationship, because they read the same way as lovers, because you spend so much time together. So it has to be honest. It has to be unconditional. And if someone is controlling you, which is really what the devil tries to do, or is not giving you the same fair share, you never want a deal with that character, because he's always going to win and he always gets more than you. So it has to be equal. And this card isn't quite equal up here. So what we want to do is see reciprocal energy, honesty, and dealing with stuff that just needs to be dealt with. If you can do that this month, I actually see promise and hope, because communication equals this new sense of appreciation. Healing doesn't happen overnight, but it is possible. So I see a silver lining, but you have to get through this first. If you're looking for love this month, you still have to do all the stuff we talked about, but it might just be more internal. So many of you might be dealing with, like I said, self-confidence issues. Maybe someone that's trying to hold you back that isn't your lover. It could just be anyone in your life. It could also be your own habits that you have to change. But as we saw here, because we also have a relationship with ourselves, phases and cycles, you can break these cycles, right? What's coming through for you, you have a few love energies here, like the Scorpio, which I saw because of scorpions. So there could be that in your life. There could also be a Capricorn energy coming in. There could also be an air sign, and like you're not limited. So guess what? Let's go back to this. What is it that you want? Because to me, this reads very Seven of Cups. I see a lot of stuff scattered. So for some of us, I've read for clients before where they said something like, I just asked, the divine, send someone my way. And I'm like, we don't want to just send someone. What are you looking for? And also, have you done the work on yourself? Heal yourself, get rid of the stuff that's the cobwebs, and then focus on really manifesting the highest possible partnership. You definitely have the attractive energy this month, but right now you're calling in something that is saying, are you ready? Are you worth it? And you want to answer back, yes, I'm ready. Yes, I'm worth it. Yes, I'm worth it. And yes, I value myself. If you do that, then I feel like you're okay. But there's some stuff you need to work on, and there's some points there of needing to kind of clear things up. All right, if you're single and happy, or divorced, or just not interested in relationship energy this month, the number one thing for you is recovery and healing. For many of you, it's healing over something that just you feel like you should have had, or it should have worked out, but it didn't. But guess what? You're actually in the middle of doing something really fantastic right now. So if you can be both present and also honor the pain that you're kind of recovering from, I think you're going to be okay. It's just a new perspective, a new vision, and seeing, okay, I still hurt a little bit, but wow, this is really happening, and I must be a part of this. I am a part of this. You know what? This is great, and you're going to start to see this shift. So for you, it's all about inner love. If you're single and happy, focus on loving yourself and creating something that brings that love and that joy in your life as well. And some very powerful things will start to happen because of that. Okay, so good energy overall. I need to, I'm going to sneeze, so I'm going to try not to sneeze. Give me 1 second to do that. Clearing the air is key. All right, thank you. Interesting that as I was reading that the whole time, I felt like my sinuses were scratchy. So one thing that I would say for you is with the Devil card, because I am I'll pick up on things even when I'm reading that don't make any sense, but I feel like clearing the air is important. Otherwise, that stuff is going to kind of get stuck energetically. So this is why you have the Queen of Swords. Getting it out, finding a way to speak your truth is going to be so important. All right, finally, and then we'll get on to the latter part of this reading. Let's take a look at your Destiny cards. We have the Mouse and the Lamb, which to me are two very kind of quiet totem-like energies that came through. So we'll look at the Mouse first. Mice are very interesting symbols because they can show us things that you don't want to avoid them because they multiply, right? So the common thread this month is to deal with something before it gets bigger. And that's what the Mouse is basically saying. If you ignore me, there's going to be 100 of me. So take care of the issue now. And that's key. It is also a sign of fertility and abundance. So I do see growth, but we want to make sure it's the right kind of growth. Okay. Now we have Lamb here in reverse, which is saying you're the leader, not the follower. And are you ready to step into that energy of leading? I hope you are. This is basically showing that others are ready to follow you, but not before you're ready to sort of step into that mantle of leader. Okay, let's look at the big idea, and then we'll get into blessings and blocks. So the big idea this month, really can't say it any clearer than these two cards. It's about unconditional love. It's about removing the blocks and the sort of like, I would also say like the control issues that might be popping up. So one person doesn't have to always lead. One doesn't have to always follow. One person doesn't have to always get their way. This is a chance for you to understand that I am ready and deserving of love and abundance in the highest forms. And also that you are capable of recovery and of growth. If you allow that to happen this month, you're going to be surprised at how much people want to sort of like invest in you and your time. And that really to recognize that window of opportunity when it comes in and to capitalize on that. Okay, those are the big ideas, I should say. All right, let's take a look at the blessings and blocks for the week ahead, or for the month ahead rather. For the month ahead, we're going to look at the one thing that you can really focus on and embrace and see growth happen with. So here's your blessing or messages of blessing. Four of Cups, it's a blessing in disguise. So actually things are better than you think. Four of Cups is telling me that there's a hidden blessing. Someone is literally saying, hey, what about this? You may have someone in your midst that loves you, that wants to offer you a job, that's paying attention to you, but you are focused just on one or two things in front of you and you're missing the big picture. So kind of like and you may be really very, very good at looking at the one thing in front of you, but just like the specialized vision of the praying mantis, it can't see in the distance. So I want you to look a little bit more around you and in the distance to focus on that. There's something, it's easier, it's closer than you think. If you're trying to think your way through a problem, the Four of Cups tells you, go back and retrace your steps. So like if you can't find your phone or your keys, look, it's probably like right under that, it's under your coat, or you might have it in your pocket. Have you ever been looking for something and it's in your hands? That's what the Four of Cups is. I've had that happen before. Or you're looking, or like your glasses and they're on your head, like you're putting it on top, but you're trying to find them here. So if you're looking for it, it's either right in front of you, or it's on your person, or it's closer than you think, or it could just involve a different perspective. So change your perspective and you'll find it faster. So that's it. It's a hidden blessing. Let's look at what might be holding you back. What's your block? So your block is, for some of you, the fear of change. For some of you, you've waited too long, I should say, and now things are happening. And you have to deal with it. So the Tower comes in when the universe notices that we're not making the required changes, and it says, okay, I'll do this for you. Because you're watching this in advance, you can actually combine these two things and avoid this. This little Ace of Cups coming in here, hidden in the Four of Cups, is also what we saw here in the deep past. The universe is saying, hey, wait, there's something better. Take that opportunity. Avoid getting pushed out of a situation. So if it's a love situation, this will just be, again, maybe something coming through where you no longer have a choice but to kind of walk away. And in a work situation, it can be the thing that makes you just say, you know what, here's my letter of resignation. But if you wait too long, then it ends up being a pink slip, or the company just closes or shuts its doors, or the person just walks away. So the Tower is basically, you have no choice but to move on. The encouragement for this is to move on before that happens. So the block is a fear of change. And guess what? It's saying it's going to happen anyway. So make the change before you're forced to make the change. Basically, if you can control it a bit, I like to talk about the Tower as a surfing card. I've said this before. If you can ride the energy of change, you can actually come out unscathed sometimes. If you just sit there on the beach and let the wave come on you, you're gonna wipe out, basically. So you have to kind of move with change rather than going into the wave or against it or ignoring it altogether. So surf the wave of change and you'll be all right. Look at things from a different perspective, and you're going to be able to pick up on the blessing and avoid the block altogether. Okay, cool. Let's go on to a couple of viewers' choice questions that I'm going to have you vote on, and then I'll take a look at your soul path questions. So I always like to open it up at this point to some things that you might like me to look at. So I'm going to do a live poll right now. So today's viewers' choice, let's see what we can focus on. So we have the Lovers and the Devil. So what I'd like to look at is looking at control issues. So basically reclaiming your control or regaining your control. How to regain control. That's how I'm going to put this. Let me just get a keyboard so I can do this a little faster. And then I also want to take a look at the Seven of Pentacles energy here, which also has to do about allowing yourself to kind of get into that energy of recovery as well. So regaining control. Let's call this really allowing growth and recovery. I only get a few words, so you'll know what I'm talking about. And then finally, I see this Five of Pentacles, which is self-confidence. So working on self-confidence. So I'll allow you to vote on these while I look at the next question. And if you're looking at this live, that's the only time that you can do it. You can't do it on a TV. It has to be either a mobile or web device that you're looking at this on. So over the next couple of minutes, if you're watching live, you can vote. For the rest of you, I'm going to focus on a question that I have, which is, how can I recognize the timing? So looking at this, how will you know the time is right? I think that's a really important question. So your first soul path question is, how can you recognize the timing? All right, so one of the things that's going to be important for you is to pull back from the daily grind. The Five of Wands is getting stuck in the daily grind. And it's also telling you that with the reversal of this, that it's not going to be as much work as you think. So one of the ways to recognize cosmic timing or the right moment is that it just feels natural. Like all of a sudden, this is easy. If it feels easy, if you can just flow with the sort of opportunity, that's what you should be doing at this moment in time. The other thing is to make sure that you're not picking up the load for everyone else, that everyone should be sort of cooperating and giving it their all. So that's the message with that. Let me look at one more while you're voting. So if somebody asks you, what's your plan? What is your plan? What is something that you can do to kind of clarify your plan? Nine of Pentacles. Okay, this is really cool. So what I see for you is that you have the capacity to do this on your own. So part of your plan, part of your future could just be taking more ownership. It doesn't necessarily mean that you have to like open your own business or be an entrepreneur, but it can mean that part of your plan is to step into that leadership role. This would be a very like gentle step. It doesn't have to be like the boss. It could be middle management or just having some people around you that are listening, being a lead. There's leadership involved with your future. Are you ready to step into it? There's a lot of abundance and a lot of support and a lot of sense of independence that will come from this, but you have to be ready for it. All right, so now we're going to take a look at the poll. I'm going to end the poll right now and we'll see what won. All right. All right, by a pretty good percentage here, we have 50% on allowing growth and recovery to happen. So we're focusing on how to really embrace the Seven of Pentacles. That was a great choice. So thank you everyone that voted. All right, so how can you foster a sense of growth and recovery in your life? Well, first of all, it's by not feeling like you have to control people in your life, by focusing on your physical well-being. One of the most important things that we get with the Strength card is the understanding that we have to take care of ourselves so that we can take care of others. And that if you've been in a series of relationships or connections in your life where it feels like you have to kind of like open up someone's mouth and make them see it from your perspective or make them understand it from your perspective, you don't have to do that anymore. The healing and recovery comes in the fact that, you know what, I've been putting a lot of time and energy in trying to fix, to convince, to appease all of these other people in my life. Am I happy? Is this where I want to be? If not, then I'm going to prioritize all of this stuff right here and right now. So one of the important things for growth and recovery is giving yourself permission to put that energy back in yourself, to reinvest, to stand up for yourself, and to also not feel like you have to control someone else. Because the Strength card upright is not falling into the energy of the devil. If she was reversed, she would be. She would be trying to kind of go in there and say, do this, say that, feel that, and you don't have to do this anymore, okay? And I feel like that's really important for you. And that's what we're getting with this. So great question, great card. You're actually poised for leadership success, but you have to accept and embrace that. Otherwise, other people will look at you and question, are you ready? Are you prepared? Okay. All right. Great question. Great message as well. Let's take a look now at, I think we're ready for the meditation, which is going to be fun. So a couple of notes here on getting into the meditation. First of all, after the meditation, I'm going to pull a final card. So one thing that I'd like you to do before I do that is to either write down what your question is or to hold it in your mind while I'm playing not the singing bowl, but this sort of triangle. I'll put it on my website later where I got it and all of that, because I'm sure there'll be some questions. But after we do this meditation, then we will take a look at your final question, okay? I'm sorry, for some reason today, as I was doing the reading, my sinuses were opening up, which is really unique. And I would say for some of you, you may be experiencing that as well. I normally don't have that. So to me, that can also be my tear ducts activating. So I would say for some of you, I think it's going to be really important for you to allow for this emotional release that we saw with the Knight of Cups. So if you don't let the emotions out somehow, they come through like they just did for me. Like I'm just going to have a tear duct activation, or I'm going to feel things kind of move through. So make sure that you're giving yourself ample time and ample ways to kind of let these emotions out so that they don't come up in a conversation, so that you're not just suddenly sitting there and all of a sudden you're crying or whatever out of nowhere. So let's focus on release. I think that'll be really powerful in this meditation. And we're going to move through the energy of sort of like death and rebirth here. All right, so let's set up the scene, and then we're going to use a brand new meditation tool. So you should at least stick around to hear what this sounds like. It's pretty cool. And then we'll go into the meditation. So imagine yourself, let's use what I saw, like imagine yourself in the desert at nighttime. And as you're looking up at the sky above you, unencumbered by city lights or really any clouds, you just see all of the stars in the sky, the beautiful Milky Way. It's almost like there's too many stars to count. And you find a place to sit down. And as you look up at the stars, we kind of did this in the collective. I want you to get the sense that the firmament comes a little bit closer to you, and that you get a little bit closer to the firmament. Give yourself a chance to maybe even allowing your body to be on this planet. Look down, look around, kind of use your third eye to really see the big picture and see all that was in your life. See the good stuff, see the stuff that you don't want anymore, and understand that you are a part of this plan, that you're part of the sort of cosmic creation of what's going on. And now in front of you, imagine that you could start to move your hands and create an opening in time and in space, a portal. Through this portal, allow yourself now to put one foot in and one foot out. As you look over your shoulder, if there's anyone in your life that you're really at this point ready to separate from, release, if there's anything that you want to forgive or let go of, look over your shoulder and say a final goodbye to this, and look into the future that you've started to open up in this portal, and see all of the fruits of your labor. See love, see abundance, see opportunity. Say, I am ready for this thing that I'm creating. And when you're ready, as I start to play this instrument, I want you to allow yourself to accept the love, the light, the abundance that's coming through. So I'm going to stand up as I play this. I just want you to sit back and enjoy. And then later you can let me know if you enjoyed this new instrument. All right. right, take a nice deep breath. Allowing yourself to step through the portal, allowing yourself to believe that what you've seen can be what you've created in your mind, you can actually create and see in your everyday life. Knowing that sometimes believing is seeing, that you have to listen to your higher self. Gently open your eyes if you haven't already. This instrument is amazing. It's actually still, it's still resonating. So I'm gonna slowly stop it now. So I hope you enjoyed that. I've been using a singing bowl for a year, so I thought I would change things up a little bit and play with that pyramid because it's just a little bit more relaxing and it really resonates for a long time. So I'll put a link on my website later today so that you can see it. And I'm sure people will ask Maria where I got that. So I'll put that up later. Okay. If you like it, let me know in the comments below. I hope you did. Okay. Think about your final question for me. What's going on with you that you need a little bit more clarity in? What haven't we had a chance to cover in today's reading? Put that in your mind. Hold that in your heart. Let me continue to shuffle the cards and let's pull a final card. Okay, so Justice Reverse carries a very special message, which is it is okay to say no. It's okay to walk away. It's okay to do something that you need to do so that you create the balance in your life. As a yes, no, she actually is a no, but I have to clarify how she's basically saying that. It can be a yes to walking away. So if you want to say, should I leave? Should I go? Should I not do this anymore? Then this would be an affirmative to that. If you're saying yes or no to something, this would say not yet or no, because you need more clarity because there's a little bit more work that needs to be done. So Justice coming through is saying it's got to everything has to balance out. If it doesn't, then it's not the right timing. Focusing again on timing is everything. She's saying then no. If you're not ready, it's not the time. Or if things don't feel right or if something doesn't add up, then it's a no. But if you're asking, should I make a break? Can I walk away from something? Can I let go? Then that is an affirmative, because usually she is an indication of separation, divorce, letting go, removing an obstacle, setting into balance something that is otherwise imbalanced, and making a decision that would be a no. So it's affirming all of those things. But if it was a simple yes, no, she's saying the fact that you had to ask me is probably telling you that you're not quite ready yet. So get ready, believe it, get to the point that you don't even need to ask the question and you'll be there. Okay. So ultimately, I do like Justice because it tells me justice will be served, and you're gonna work this out. But all of the things that I just talked about are important to figuring out if that time is right for you. All right. So that is everything. But let me just talk about a couple of things here. I didn't say this at all today. So if you've enjoyed all of this and want to show just support that doesn't cost anything, please hit the thumbs up. And if you've been a long-time viewer but you've never hit subscribe, consider doing that. I'm really close to a milestone. Once I get to 300,000 followers, I will do a special Q&A for all of my members and patrons. I'll allow you to ask me some questions. If you happen to watch on replay, you can also show some love with the thanks button. You can join at any time. And by the way, the membership is something that you can cancel and rejoin at any time as well. So thank you. If you happen to give a little bit of love today and support, I will say thank you in just a moment. I have to get through all this first. Please feel free to follow me on social media. I do recaps on Instagram, Facebook, and also in the YouTube member channel, or member tab rather. So you can always catch a recap there. And usually by the next day, I will put in the description area a recap as well. Feel free to follow me on Twitter as well. All of these are great ways to figure out, hey, is Nicholas live today? What sign is he reading for, etc. I also have a book if you like fantasy and science fiction. You can see it behind me. It's called The Luminous Ones, and it's available now if that's something you're interested in. All right, let me just say quickly thank you to everybody that was able to give back a little bit today. One moment here as I take a look at the supers and who was able to show some love and support. I want to say thanks. That wasn't a cheap instrument, so thank you so much. I put it right back in the channel. I've been saving up for that. All right, so thank you, Sarah. I appreciate you. Brooke and Touche, good to see you, Touche. Emma, Popcorn, let's see, Runsti, hello. Melissa, Abundance, Tony, and also April Rain. Good to see you. April Rain, you gave a couple times in a row. Thank you so much. To everybody that gives a little bit later, I appreciate you. Again, to all of you that are channel members, thank you so much. And again, if you've never subscribed, subscribe now, because again, I'll do something fun for all of you that do that. All right, everyone, thank you so much. Have a fantastic day. Thank you, Cindy. I saw that as I was signing off. And Melissa, appreciate it. Thank you very much, Maria, for your help in moderating today. And a reminder, let me give you the links for all of the upcoming videos. I just posted the schedule yesterday. I know that usually Aries tends to be a little light in attendance because it's the first. So there's the links. I will be doing a Sunday collective, a weekly collective with a 7-day forecast. You can watch me every Sunday to do that. I have a special Halloween one this month as well, where we'll probably do something with connecting to ancestral energy. I usually do something with like Day of the Dead or All Souls. So it's kind of right before that. So the veil is very thin. Definitely join me on Halloween. And there's the rest of the schedule for everything else. I'll be back again on Monday to read for Taurus, and then the rest of the schedule you can see. All right, everyone, have a great day. Lots of love and light. Happy fall and or spring, depending on where you're at. And great to see you. Bye-bye. Thank you.